What's been exciting you lately in the sustainable fashion world?
I've been in sustainable fashion. Before it was called sustainable fashion.
That's a flex, actually. We're not even close. And how you started, and how your perspective evolved in this past 2 decades.
Organic cotton, and it's just like so much bigger than that. Like
I was shocked, actually. What advice would you give to a brand like ZÁY SHEEN to stand out? Hi everyone, and welcome back to ZÁY SHEEN Podcast, where we explore fashion that speak to purpose, culture, and conscious living. I'm your host, Afreed Budd, the founder of ZÁY SHEEN, a brand rooted in sustainable elegance and storytelling. Today, I'm truly honored to be joined by a powerful voice in the sustainable fashion world. She's an author, she's an educator, a vintage queen, Bridgett Artise.
Yay!
Yeah, founder of Born Again Vintage, House of Bove, and Sustainable Fashion Week US. Bridgett, thank you so much for being here to kick things off. What's been exciting you lately in the sustainable fashion world?
I would say the most exciting thing lately is probably seeing the number of the younger generation getting involved in the movement. I think that's about as exciting as you can get, because I feel like that's the generation that could kind of take us out of the fast fashion movement that we've been in for so long. I think they're the one that could completely take us out of it.
I'm one of them.
Yes, you are.
I'm one of them.
And I'm proud of you guys. You guys are doing some real work.
Of course. Thank you. That's what I'm thinking. I got into it, and now my mission is to bring more people into this so we can make a community and work on the things that you guys in the sustainable fashion been a long time, so we can continue with that, or help in this industry to
I believe in y'all.
Yes, thank you so much. So yes, that was a quick intro, and also I would give you, not give you. It's just please tell about yourself, a little bit about your background, so the people who are here, so they get to know you a little bit.
Sure. So I've been in sustainable fashion. Before it was called sustainable fashion. Wow. Roughly 23 years ago. So
that's a flex, actually.
It was. I mean, we called it eco-friendly and green back then.
Yeah.
And needless to say, I think that's part of our issue now too, is having to complicate things with all these different terms and sustainable fashion, ethical fashion, circular fashion. It's like, you can't get simpler than being sustainable. And I think that they made it so increasingly difficult to understand what it is.
Yeah.
And it makes people kind of draw away from it when it's something that's very natural for us. But okay. So I've been in it for 23 years. I started as an upcycler. I'm self-taught. So as a designer, that's the only way I've ever designed. I've never done it any other way. It came very natural for me. First time in a thrift shop, I bought a whole bunch of vintage stuff. I chopped it up, turned it into something else, and then people wanted to buy it. And, that's all the clue that I needed to know that I could keep going in this direction.
Wow.
And then it was my design, my customers basically that would say, well, Bridgett, I love your brand because it's eco-friendly. So I'm like, what's eco-friendly? I'm doing it because it felt good and I was passionate about it. I had no idea the impact that it had. So then once you kind of dig deep and start to research, then you're horrified. And then you feel like you kind of have to, just like you said, now you have to kind of bring other people in. You got to spread the word. You got to share the information, because I was mortified when I found out all the horrors of fashion.
Mm-hmm.
And I was a straight up Bloomies girl, prior to, this switch. So, once I found out the information, I felt like it was my job pretty much to spread that information. And then next thing you know, Random House asked me to create the book, which was definitely something I did not anticipate. And making a book put me on the map in 2008 as, a very early upcycler. As I like to say, I definitely wasn't the first upcycler, but maybe the first to turn it into a business.
Yeah.
Crazy enough to do that.
Of
So
course.
2008 is when the book came out, and then it's been, just one thing after another. Once the book came out, then the classes started, and once the classes start, the store opened. After the store opened, then
Wow.
Sustainable Fashion Week. So it was very organic, but it was definitely, I feel like I've been led, because this was definitely not something that I had planned at all. At FIT, I went there for buying and merchandising, so I did want to be a buyer, but I did not want to be a designer. That was something I was thinking about.
I see. No, that is so beautiful. Actually, you answered my first of two questions, but how you got into this journey and how you started, and the second thing, because I'm actually so much interested to know about how did you write the book. You explained how you started that, so I'm gonna ask the following question, which I have from it personally, which is, you were not so long in that space when you wrote a book, because you were fairly new, like 5-7 years. So
Right.
how much knowledge in the meantime when you were writing a book you already had, and what was the challenges to find the correct information that you could write in the book, and how did it increase your knowledge when you were writing the book?
Well, I think this is a great example of how much of a newbie I was. So when Random House proposed this to me, they said, just send us a proposal. We'll have a meeting with the editors and yada, yada, yada. So I put together a proposal, and it's like, maybe like a first grader did it, because I'm like, copy and paste pictures. and they were like, maybe we should get you an agent. And so they got me an agent. So that's how, newbie I was, as far as that's concerned. And but once they proposed and told me what they wanted to be about, so my brand was Born Again Vintage, but at that time it was my tagline. So my original brand was B Artise Originals, and Born Again Vintage was a tagline. So they wanted it to be Born Again Vintage.
Wow.
And so they wanted to do 25 ideas of upcycling. So, that was easy for me, because even though I've only been in that space like 5 years, but like I said, it was very natural for me to cut up stuff and turn it to other. I didn't even know it was a talent that I had.
Yeah.
So it was very easy. The only thing is I was a little nervous, because here I am, a newbie, and then I'm giving out 25 ideas. So, my friends had to encourage me, like, are you crazy? Of course you're going to write this book, It's like, the way you come up with these ideas, you could come up with 25 more. It's just like, so I was like, oh, okay, right. Yeah.
Oh, I'm glad.
So they got me a ghostwriter.
Okay.
Jen, amazing lady from Miami that I got to spend time with. And so basically I put all my ideas together. I wrote them out, and then she would kind of edit them.
So how long it took you to write the whole idea with the all process, meeting people, with the ghostwriter and all that?
So I guess from the minute we had that lunch where she proposed it to the minute it was out, I would say took 1.5 years.
Okay.
Not that long.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't think it took long.
Yeah, for a new person, I think it's a great opportunity. And I heard all the time that people have ideas, or they write a book and they don't find the publishers, or they don't find the opportunities. But I think you got a very lucky, and especially you put in the work.
Oh yeah.
And
lucky's an understatement. Yeah. And not only that, but even I had to send the pieces that I was going to use for the book first, so they could take pictures of them, and then they sent it back. Then I upcycled all the pieces, sent it back to them. And, so I had nothing to do with the styling, the models. So when I actually saw the book, talking about like jaw to the ground. So the stylist actually for the book, did real magic, because I just did it. It was the prettiest book I've ever seen.
Wow.
It was so pretty.
Yeah, that is so interesting. Now hopefully, God willing, the next podcast will be going all the, book session, the 25 is, because I read a little bit, and those 25 topics still relevant right now, even in 2025. And I
Yes.
love the book title that you have, and you were telling me that it was your tagline, Born Again Vintage. It makes
Right.
so much sense
Yeah.
that you can bring the old fashioned that everyone is doing. When
Right.
we're getting in the trends, you're bringing old fashioned in with it, some new types. But if we can upcycle the old trend, the real trend for the, what do we say, evergreen, and
Evergreen.
also one more word I forgot. Timeless. So it's a
Yes. Yeah.
timeless title, timeless practices that you mentioned in that, and I think it's so perfectly executed and made.
Oh,
That
thank you. I mean, what I just told someone recently. My one of my FIT classes just closed up,
Uh-huh.
and that class. So I've been teaching there 15 years. That class, almost half of the students bought the book for me to sign.
Wow.
So 15 years later, the book is how old now?
It's
17 years old.
Yeah, my brother is 16, so 1 year less 16. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
15, yes.
So I just thought, I said, oh my God, I mean, it touched me so much just to see how relevant it still is after all of this time. It's pretty amazing.
Wow, no, it is. It deserves it, to be honest. Of course. Now, thank you so much for sharing the backstory behind it. I really enjoyed it. So the next thing, when we had a intro call before this recording this podcast, you mentioned that you said sustainability is a natural way to live.
Yes.
And can you share what do you mean by that, and how, especially in the context of fashion, in that, please?
Well, when we take it back to the early days. You gotta understand when you scraped your knee or you got a hole in your jeans, your mom would sew a patch over it, right? Your pants got a little too short, they take the hem out, you know?
Still doing that.
Right. I mean, it was just instinctual. That's what we did.
Yeah.
It wasn't immediately throw it in the garbage and buy a new pair of jeans. That was ridiculous back then. So I'm saying that was how we were introduced to life, being sustainable. I think that as we, generations got older, we got more luxurious. We got introduced to fast fashion where we could get things a lot easier and simpler and cheaper. We got further and further and further away from that mindset. Yeah. But I think that at the end of the day, as people, as human beings, our nature is to be sustainable. And I just think that, some of us stayed that way and some of us, went right. Most of us went right. But, the thing is, it is something that is, inherently in our DNA. Yes. To be sustainable.
Exactly. No, I actually gonna continue that and tell.
I mean, we used to have cloth diapers.
Oh yes, yes.
We used to have milk delivered in glasses.
Yeah, my grandma was telling me, she was using the cloth diaper, then they wash it and reuse that, and also the milk thing, they put in the glass and all that. It's actually, yes, that's a natural way to live.
It is.
For being plastic now is everywhere. The issues regarding our health. I was actually talking to an individual last night. His son born last year, and he's kind of a special needs and all that. And I was saying, why is that? Is the doctor tells you anything, and why is that? And he told me that he spoke to the doctor, some specialists, and they told him that the issue is microplastics. And I was like, how that's I mean, I know about that, but I was asking, but how that's related? How can that be? And he was like, the plastic is everywhere, the microplastics in the water that we drink, the air, what we breathe. And that's the thing. It's actually causing in the pregnancy and, making the new children that are born affected.
That's insane.
Exactly. So even when we wear some polyester or plastic on, our skin breathes. It takes into it. So the people who go to gym.
Well, I mean, that's the issue when the clothing brands are not forced to be transparent with what they're using. You know, they say athletic wear is probably the most dangerous of them all.
Oh yeah.
But they don't have to tell us. So if they don't have to tell us and we keep buying this, then it's like this cycle. How would we know? I always felt like, just like we have the labels on food and it shows you what's in it.
Yeah.
You know, that's what should be in every piece of clothing. And each consumer gets to decide if they're going to buy it based on what's in it or who made it. And if they only got 2 cents for making it, you know, if we had all the information, trust me, we would do better. It's just that we don't have that information.
Of course.
You know, we don't get the information until after the fact, when it's too late. When we're breathing it in, we're drinking it. That's when we get the information.
Exactly. So we need to focus on, and the brands, like at ZAY SHEEN, we just try to be as transparent as we can. But I mean, that's the only way, actually, to be transparent and let the people know what they're buying.
Right.
And try to use the sustainable practices so that doesn't harm the human being and the planet. Because if my mother was telling me that during COVID, she was missing people. If there's no people in this world, there's nothing, you know. So we are the one who's having, you know, we're living here, we get the world going, and that's the thing. And I believe that's one of the thing, and I totally agree. It's a natural way to.
Yeah. I feel like I really do think if we were given a choice, and given that information prior to buying whatever product, I think we would all choose right. At least 98%. You know, there's that 2 that maybe won't care, but you know, most of us, you know, we care.
Exactly. So yes, that's a very great topic that we just talked, and of course, people need to be aware, and to know what's going on and how to choose or how to find out what to select for their body, for their own, you know, for the future self. So it totally affects. If we say no, it does. There's a live example I just told you. Yeah. So the next thing is about, because you're here in the, before it called sustainable fashion and it got promoted, you were one of the first. So how your perspective evolved in this past 2 decades that you're working in this industry?
Well, I mean, I think because I've been in different pockets of the industry. I'm still, I think I'm always going to feel like the education part of it is the most important. So, you know, I've been in the retail end of it, trying to push it to consumers. I had the first sustainable store in an outlet mall.
Wow.
And talk about a challenge, because we're dealing with outlet customer who wants something for cheap, but at the same time, you know, they're also following trends. So, you know, of course, I was there to make money, but also to spread awareness. And when I tell you, it was literally like pulling teeth.
Wow.
To these customers, I was sandwiched between J. Crew and Levi's. And so, you know, completely not my customer at all. And so when they would stumble in there and see the stuff that I had, and, you know, you literally have to explain exactly what it is. Why is this T-shirt $150?
Yeah.
There's only one of them.
Yeah.
Someone made it by hand. You'll never find it again. And, you know, it's livelihood. You know, this person made this one item and this is how they're sustaining their life.
Exactly.
So, I mean, you have to tell this to them, because, you know, to them, it's like, oh my God, $150, you know? So, and I did that on a daily basis for 2 years.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know,
I wish I could be here to see people's reaction on the $150 shirt where they can buy just a $5 tee.
Right. So, I mean, I actually wish I did videotape it, because it was just so interesting. Really. It was so interesting. But the ones that got it, so, and this is the thing about, you know, me, even with teaching the classes, when they get it, you know, they get it, you can see like something kind of shift.
Yeah.
and it's like they want to support.
Of course.
So it's almost like us. We're like, once you stumble across something, then it's like, oh, I need to spread this information. I need to support it,
Exactly.
And that's how, I got most of my clientele was those people that did get it. So yeah, it was, maybe 1 out of every 5 or 6 customers. But, some of them did listen. And like I said, they became loyal clients.
Wow.
So that's the retail end of things. The platform, as far as Sustainable Fashion Week, I feel like, supporting indie and emerging, in-student designers is super important, because I feel like we really don't have anything that supports people that's just coming up in this industry. I feel like we jump from, straight to a veteran, or you have to have a blue check, or you have to have 50,000 followers, so it's like, what happens to that space of the designers trying to make it to get there? Like, how are they going to be seen and spotlighted? So I feel like I said, we really, we do a lot of talk in New York, or, this side of the world, especially having traveled outside of the country now and seeing how we're a lot further evolved in sustainability in a lot of ways. But here it's just a lot of talking, lots of, mini movements that, just kind of spin and spin and spin. But I just don't feel like we actually do anything, and I definitely don't feel like it's my responsibility, but at the same time, I do feel like I keep creating things to make sure these people are seen and they're heard and supported, and when I started, when it was like a handful of us, maybe 3 of us that I can remember back then, and we got a lot of no's because of what we did. And, as far as getting sales, like mass order sales, like for stores, it was like a really hard push, a really hard sell.
Yeah.
So, when you feel like that lone wolf, of course, you got to feel like when you do get to a certain space,
Right.
You have to, help the people behind you.
Yeah. So I'm going to just go to the very first thing that when we were talking about the t-shirt price, you told me direction, and I love that. And what is actually one thing I'm going to ask this first, that, you got into it, spread the awareness, met to the people, and try to get it done, and it get resolved, or you see any better results than before in the sustainable fashion, or in sustainability in general?
I mean, I think I do. I mean, when I look at the statistics, of course, they're better.
Yeah.
When I think of the people involved, and not only that, but my class, the way it's grown in the past 15 years.
Wow.
The people that took it in the beginning, it was more like hobby, arts and crafts, like, let's see what this is about, type of thing. And now it's people that are
serious,
trying to make it a career,
Yeah.
So that's, that trajectory is amazing.
Exactly. Yes.
And
started with just a hobby, and now it's a career where you can get into it and build it. That's absolutely amazing. And what's the one thing after, I just asked the past 2 decades perspective, and you tell me about the other countries, I totally believe that. I actually had one guest from Dubai, and she was telling me their practices, and I was like, no way. We're not even close. We are not even close to you guys. So, yeah, that's what. But what is the one thing that you are now focusing on, or try to teach in your class to your students, to some extra focus, or whatever that is? What's one thing?
One thing. Well, I feel like I always try to challenge my students to do a 30-day initially, a 30-day no shopping challenge.
Wow.
I just feel like that's the first thing you have to do, is kind of get out of the mode that you feel like you have to shop. And then if you could do it 30 days, then you try it for 60. Wow. And then just keep going, because I think once you get into that mode, it becomes like, what? I have 20,000 hoodies. Okay. I have 20,000 leggings. I have like jeans, what am I shopping for?
Yes. That's what I was actually about to ask. 30 days challenge just for the clothing thing or any materials thing about,
just for shopping clothing.
Just for shopping clothing. Now that's very cool. Now I'm gonna ask more how you change the mindset or ask them to do, challenge. This is one of them, and I think it's very good. So the next thing, and I'm most interested about, I to be honest, I'm interested in all of it. I'm so happy to be here right now. I'm gonna thank you again, Bridgett, for being here, to giving me an honor to be with you. And the next thing, I was actually sorting your Instagram because I have 1 hour because I got our.
Oh, right. Yeah. You were on
I had nothing else to do, so I was like, yeah, just do it because I did before. Let me go into the details. So I'm gonna talk about the vintage, born again vintage. So I went to the profile, and even with the fast fashion clothes, you repurpose them. It's so much better than to throwing into the landfills.
Right.
And the way you make it, the way you repurpose that, I don't see why people not gonna love that, as you told me before. And even if they repurpose that and they wear and feel good and feel comfortable, they feel confident. And one of the feeling that they got that, we're making a change. So why not? So what does born again means beyond just a brand name? Because I explained the whole idea, but I want to hear from you too. Maybe you add a little more.
Well, it actually has several meanings.
Okay.
So, and I just think, this is just like a side joke, because when I was trying to come up with the tagline, it was between born again vintage and reconstruction junction. So
oh my God.
That was the right one.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God. But so initially, it was, so I was like definitely like entering a new phase in my life at that particular time.
Yeah.
Being an at-home mom. And then all of a sudden now, being this designer / author. So there's that one definition. So I was kind of being born again, going down this completely different path that I really didn't even anticipate. It wasn't on my goal list. It wasn't on my trajectory. So that was that. Also, born again vintage means, being able, of course, the most obvious is giving this vintage a second chance. Like as you said, instead of it ending in the landfill, now we're getting another chance to live. So it's being born again.
Yeah.
The other meaning of it was I had recently lost my last child when I was offered this book. And so I was definitely in a very sad and dark place. And so to be offered this and given me this chance to kind of step out of where I could have went, because I definitely could have went somewhere else with that.
Yeah.
And this gave me a chance to go a different place. So like I said, it's definitely super, super personal for me in more ways than one. But it also means, just really getting a chance to, to be happy and share and do different things with your life that you didn't anticipate. So just being able to be born again and again and again.
Yeah. No, I love the idea. I'm sorry to hear about that, but I think you are one of the perfect examples of the woman empowerment too, because how you overcome the things that you had in the past or just happened, and how you can born again yourself. Because as long as you're breathing, it's not over.
Right.
You can still do it. You can still.
That's right.
Wow, that's amazing. I love the things when we just don't say, but there's a meaning, a story behind it, where we can learn from, or it comes for some others' experiences, like you just did. It's beautiful. And the other question is about why do you believe vintage clothing is so powerful in this fast-paced fashion world, where the trends are coming back to back twice a week now? I was actually reading. Yeah.
Well, I mean, what I've learned in my history is I got at least two amazing stories
Okay.
that made me realize how important vintage is.
Mm-hmm.
Well, one, vintage connects us to our past
Mm-hmm.
and different eras that we weren't even able to live. But we also realize that when you look at vintage clothing and you just realize how amazing it was made. I mean, the work, the craftsmanship, the detailing. I mean, like people cared about what they were making, and you could tell by how they made it. So, you compare that to now, they could care less. It's made quick, 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 shipped out, quick, 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 shipped out. Back then, I mean, everything was just like from the matching of the thread to the type of thread.
Oh yeah.
Everything was just immaculate, and it just took so much concern and care on whoever bought it.
I've been going to the shops to match the colors with the clothes to make it, and it takes hours to get the perfect one, or sometimes we have to go back to get the correct one, or go to the other shop.
Right.
So that's how
because you care.
Yeah.
Because you care, and because they cared then. They cared about how everything was made, and so when you care, next thing you know is like connection. Yeah. So everybody that I know that's into vintage, there's some type of story about that sweater that they have on. You say, "Oh my God, girl, that sweater is amazing." Oh, and then they have a story.
Yeah.
Oh, I got this and or my grandmother passed it down. I mean, so then so it forms a connection. Like no one is saying that about the fast fashion T-shirt that 10 other million people are wearing. Exactly. It's not connecting people.
There's no story behind it.
There's no story behind it.
You cannot keep it for a long time to tell somebody else, or it doesn't matter if you tell anyone else or not, but whenever you see that garment, whenever you wear that, how you feel, what do you remember? Who gave it to you? How did you bought it? Or how long are you using this? So this is the type of a thing that, if you're concerned about, it's better to have it. And
yes.
I believe this is it's very interesting. Because you said you're doing the upcyclings. So what are the biggest challenges you find in the upcycling clothes in the born again vintage?
Well, initially, so because of that challenge, I had to do a business plan because I was, I made a sweater. It got featured in Lucky magazine.
Wow.
And next thing you know, I got like 150 calls for that sweater.
Wow.
But there's only one. So I'm like, okay.
Okay.
How is this going to be a viable business? Because just think, I was doing it because I was passionate about it. It was fun. It wasn't necessarily about the money in the very beginning. So once that happened, it was like, okay, I got to really think this through. So I would say the challenge really is the quantity, because, what I would get was either somebody will love a piece, but, let's say they're size 16 and it's a size 4, or vice versa. So when there's only one piece, so that's why it became, what I had to do was really hone in and figure out who my customer was. And that took a minute. I thought she was one person, I thought she was from Cali and she was like 5'9" and she was a Valley girl, and, but that wasn't who she was. Like my customer is actually 40 to 60, disposable income, a maverick, don't care what anyone thinks, but who knew? So once I zoned in on who she was, then I don't really have to worry too much about quantity, because I know their sizes, I know what they like, and yada, yada, yada. But that was a huge challenge in the beginning, was, making one item and then figuring out,
Wow, that's actually good. And the one thing is about, because you mentioned there were 150 calls and one sweater, but the other way, what do you think about overproduction? Because fast fashion, they burn billions at the end of the year just to, just burn their clothes. So I just try to make sure, even in ZÁY SHEEN, we don't do we could do less. It doesn't matter.
Right.
As long as we're not doing more, it's
Right.
the better way.
Well, I mean, first off, I mean, let's just be completely honest.
Yeah.
We actually don't have to make any clothes. Nobody.
Exactly.
There's enough to clothe generations and generations.
Yeah.
So that's point one. So with that being said, mostly anything is overproduction. But if you do small runs and or print by order, which I usually suggest, I mean not print, but produce by order, which is probably the best way to do it. But if you do small runs, a couple of small, a couple of medium, a couple of large, a couple of extra large, and not only does that give you a great way of learning what sells most, and then you could start producing more in that particular size. Once you know, oh, okay, we sell a lot of medium. Maybe we do 6 of it next time. But I mean, I just think it's a small run type of equation if you're really trying to stay in the vein of sustainability.
Exactly. Yes. So the other side is we often hear a buzzword in the fashion, but only few really understand what does that mean, and that word is sustainability. And what does real sustainable production look like to you?
Well, Born Again Vintage, I would say, is highly sustainable.
Okay.
And when I say highly sustainable, initially I started making upcycling pieces from vintage or thrifted items.
Okay.
That I would buy and then recreate. Then it got to a point that people knew the brand enough that I got tons and tons and tons of donations. So as of and especially once COVID hit. So as of 2020, Born Again Vintage only creates from donations. So I'm not even buying anything to create my pieces.
Yeah.
Everything is donated.
Wow.
So, it's about as zero, carbon footprint as you can get.
Yeah, exactly. That's 0%.
Right.
Exactly.
So for sustainability, to me, it means production is thinking about the end, the end of that garment before you even make it. So before even producing it, you're already thinking about, okay, so what if someone throws this out? How is it going to, how is it going to decompose in the landfill?
Wow.
How dangerous will it be with the chemicals that I use or the dye that I use or, all of that stuff.
Exactly. That's the whole thought process before you even make it. Right. Exactly. And what are still, what's the misconceptions people still have about sustainable fashion or sustainable brands that you hear from them or your student concerns?
Well, I feel like a lot of people think it's expensive.
Okay.
And it can be.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, but I feel like there's such a wide range at this point now.
Yeah.
You could definitely find cost-effective, sustainable fashion. I also feel like a lot of people still believe it's about hemp fabrics and organic cottons. Like they haven't even gone past like that initial, like it's about how it's made. I mean, the fabric that it's comes from. So I just, like I said, I feel like we're in a bubble, especially in the U.S.
Yeah.
Like we have this very isolated views on what sustainability is. It's expensive. It's only browns and beiges and hemps and organic cotton, and it's just like so much bigger than that. Like we have banana leather now.
Oh yeah, exactly. Banana leather. Oh my god.
Wow. Can you even imagine?
We got cactus leather before, now it's banana leather. Wow, I was shocked actually. I did some of my research and that's really cool. But as long we're recycling something, or as you have the vision or still doing in the Born Again Vintage, instead of getting any new inventory, you just use or repurpose the old one that we already have, because whatever percentage that we do is better than throwing it to the landfills.
That's right.
So if we get that by donation, or we get it from the thrift store, repurpose and going back to the people wardrobe, and they better wear it, because that's if even if they buy and keep it in the closet and just filling that up.
That's what I always joke around to my students. I was like, I know I will never see a born again vintage piece in the landfill. I will never.
Oh yeah.
Either it's such a classic piece. It's one of a kind.
Wow.
If you don't keep it in your closet, you're gonna definitely gift it to someone. But you're not gonna throw it out. There's no way. There's no way.
Exactly. Wow. So how do you approach teaching your students about sustainability at FIT?
Well, see, and that's the whole thing. I feel like I'm hands-on.
Okay.
It's not. Sure, there's some lecture in there, so they have to get the information, but by physically upcycling pieces, and letting them know how, because that's the first thing. But I don't know how to sew. Everyone says that. I don't know how to sew. And I'm like, you don't need to know how to sew, and to get that fear from them, because everyone feels like you really have to be some type of seamstress, or and you don't. It's super, super simple. And I think by the end of it, I mean, like I said, I'm blown away every class when I tell you the way it starts and the way it finishes.
Wow.
And their mindset, and just the things that they said that they can't do, and then the things that they end up doing is like literally always mind blowing to me. Because it's just like that freedom. Like they could relax and they could do whatever you want. As I told them, there's no rules with upcycling.
Yeah.
There's no limits.
Right.
The possibilities are endless. So it's like whatever your brain could think of, we could try to make it happen. So
you're in the class. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. So you're in the room with like 20 plus individuals with the Gen Z new mindset, fresh, and they're learning about sustainability. What is the recent memory that you might learn something from the students that you were like, oh, that's actually a great idea if we do it that way, or if we do it this way? So what?
I learn from them all the time. I think, I think that is probably one of the things I like most about my class, because I definitely am not the teacher where it's like, I'm the professor. I feel like we're all there. Trying to, learn from each other.
Better.
So, I remember one class where, so one of the classes at FIT was how to build a vintage business. And so I'm, doing the list of ways that you could sell, and it's like eBay, Etsy, blah, 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 da, 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 da. And then one girl raised her hand. She's like, what about ThreadUp? I mean, she named like 10 others that literally were not even on my radar, because they were just that new. So like the platforms were being produced quicker than I could even add to my curriculum.
Wow.
And so in the minute she said that, I literally opened it up to the class, and I was like, what other platforms are out there? Things that I didn't know, but it was just moving so quickly. Like, when I started that class, I remember my intro was, they said that vintage was going to be a fad. And, here we are in 2025, and it's $1 billion, resale is $1 billion business.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's insane.
Oh, yes, definitely. So one of the students that you told me the concern about, they don't know how to sell. And because as you started, you also didn't know how to sell, I assume. And it just came with the opportunity and the work that you put in, and, God make ways, and, you grow like that. So anyone from your student or around the world who are listening to this, wanted to start a sustainable fashion brand, or what do you advise to your student if they say, oh, I want to start my own clothing brand, like sustainability, or doing the vintage, like repurposing the clothes? What mindset should a new sustainable brand adopt in 2025?
Well, I mean, I think anybody that's trying to get in it right now, I think the first question they should ask is, what am I bringing to the table that's not already out there? I mean, there's tons and tons of us now, Yeah. So what is my niche? What is my specialty? what am I tapping in on that hasn't been tapped in on? And I think that I would also encourage them to research that, like, because we don't need another, organic tea brand with graphic, like, how many can we have? So let's try to figure out where we're lacking, because there's definitely areas that we're lacking in, for sure. Like, I mean, I think denim is probably one of the worst fabrics out there. Like, can we figure out how to make, a better way of making denim without people, being blue in the villages to dye our jeans,
And all the water.
Right. God. So, that's what if you're going to start it, figure out why we need it, because that's the most important thing. If we don't need it, then why are you doing it? And if we don't need it, then why do you want to do it? So it's just that why in the beginning, to make sure that you're doing it for the right reasons. Because the way I started was completely passion filled. I always feel like I tell people you have to have some type of reason or a passion behind it, because just think, there's going to be challenges, there's going to be bumps, there's going to be some hard times. And if you don't have that passion behind it, trust me, one bump and you're like, I'm out.
I can totally understand. Even right now I'm starting. Because my age of growth of friends that were like, oh, you do it, it's so cool and all that. I want to do it, or can I join? I was like, dude or miss, if you're not passionate about, please, I would not recommend. There's
you have to have it.
so much things that you need to to learn to do it. It's not just like how they made it cool look on Instagram or TikTok. Like
right.
They just they drop it, and people like order it on Shopify and all that. It's not work that like that. Maybe a trend, that's also whatever fast fashion thing. Maybe you can sell something as a dropship, or a trendy reel come out or meme come out, you put on and you sell it out. But that's not sustainable if you want to build a brand, a reputation to do that.
Right.
So there are so many challenges just in production, and then when you come to the face of the brand, it's just behind the scene. When you come into the face, answering questions, learning more stuff, implementing that, sales, website, social media, the quality of the products, delivery timing, shipping orders. Oh my God, there's a lot. If you're not passionate about it, you can't do it.
Story behind the brand name, just like you asked me about Born Again Vintage. Everybody always wants to know, and you want to have an authentic, reasoning behind that, and not just like, oh, I thought it sounded cool, So it's like, what is the connection? Where's the story? People love the story. They love the story.
Of course, you do that. And out of these, we just spoke about the brands. Even I think if you're starting a fashion brand, still it's not going to be easy. There's so much competition. You're saying, oh, I don't care about sustainability because I heard of that. And probably you more than I do. And I don't care about sustainability. I'm going to do just fashion, just buy some cheap and sell it for higher as a trend. I was like, dude, do it. Let's see what happened.
Yeah. Good luck.
So what is one thing that you think sustainable brands are doing right now? We're just talking about sustainable brands particular right now. And you think they should stop doing that you don't like, or you think not so ethical?
Well, no, that's a good question. I don't think I really paid attention. Well, like I said, I feel like half of the sustainable brands that claim to be sustainable brands aren't actually sustainable brands. So that's one. I feel like they should be more transparent as far as what makes them sustainable. Because look, anybody can say they're a sustainable brand, really.
Yeah.
I mean, because how do we know how it was made?
Oh yeah.
And made with. We really don't know. We believe what you're telling us.
Yes.
So if anything, I would say I would want more visibility as far as the process. There was a brand that we promoted on Sustainable Fashion Week. It was called Wildling Shoes. And the reason why I fell in love with the brand is because they took me step through step on how it was made.
Wow.
And what, and why it was sustainable. And like, once you've shown the process, it's just like, how can you not want to support it? Because I mean, like you said, it takes a lot of effort.
So
to be sustainable, it takes a lot of effort. And so what they did and the materials and they have like a small team. And I mean, everything is just almost like how we were talking about vintage. Like the care was just like, and I feel like if more brands were open to being visible as far as like how things are made and what it's used, I think it would be a win for all of us. Because I feel like if we just see it, we would be like, wow, that I appreciate that brand for taking that much care and I want to support it.
Of course, definitely. Yeah, the transparency comes to it first.
Yeah.
First. So how do you personally stay grounded as a founder and as an educator? Because you were like, you don't say in the class, like, I'm a professor, listen to me. And so what are your practices, or what are your teaching style in the class, or when you speak to the people explaining what a sustainable brand is, and how does that work for you?
Well, I mean, the thing is, I feel like I am, equal to anybody that I'm coming in contact with. So I never feel superior. I never feel inferior.
Yeah.
I feel like we're, same, all human. So I feel like people could feel that. And I feel like they respect it. And so because of that, I'm just super approachable. Because when you're passionate about something, people could either feel it as authentic or like, oh, she's, and I just feel like I've been doing it so long now that it is almost like breathing for me. And so it's not any falsehood or fakeness about it. I'm just being myself. And I think people really, really appreciate it, especially as a teacher.
Yeah.
Because I think students can come to me and they don't feel like any question is stupid or, or whatever. They just feel like they can ask me anything and I'm going to answer them as much as I know how and give my opinion. And the same thing with speaking or the platform. Anybody that supports me, I'm going to be grateful. And I'm not going to feel like, I'm the founder of this and I'm it's just like, anybody could have done this. I just happen to be the person to do it. And I don't feel like, I'm just really trying to spread the word and hope that, it does change people's mindset. Like that's not the end of the day. That's the hope. Like if I could change 1 to 10 people, 10 to 100 people, that's the goal. It's really not about ego at all.
Yeah.
At this point, I mean, it's
definitely. I just experienced you, so it is so wonderful and so comfortable to talk to you like this, even though we just met before one time. Now we're talking for about an hour now, but it's so wonderful. It's so, as I said, comfortable. And I believe the students, you have to build like a thing if the student has some questions, so they can approach you easily and they don't hesitate to ask. Because that's why you're there. That's what a good teacher does, I believe.
Yes.
Exactly.
Thank you.
So that's actually so cool. Thank you for that. So now I would like to shift a spotlight to my brand, our brand, ZÁY SHEEN. So ZÁY SHEEN, it's a sustainable fashion label. It launched by cultural roots from Pakistan. Because I'm born there. I moved to Thailand, lived there for almost a decade, Thailand, and now because I'm in US, so I'm just learning how people work, how the fashion works here. And my idea is to root it all these three, because all three these countries have their own culture. Like we have Pakistan, then Thailand. They have their own culture, but in America, they're like different cultures that all get together.
Right.
So if we can't say that there's one culture in America, as far I learned, because
Right.
even though I believe your students, one is from maybe from Ghana, the other is from the Southeast Asia, one is the from the Mexico, or all around the world, and when they share their perspective or their ideas or their traditions, it's so much more beautiful. I think there are chances that we can build.
Mm,
So, uh,
nice.
from your experience, what advice would you give to a brand like Zayshin to stand out, or focus on the things to complete our mission or go forward?
Well, Pakistan and Thailand, I mean, like, those are two amazing cultures, both incredibly sustainable.
Yeah.
um, and the practices are so unique, like the dyeing and the block, and I mean, you have a lot of different things that are incorporated with those two cultures.
Yeah.
So and to bring the U.S. in the fold, I feel like you have a special opportunity to kind of unite the three.
Yeah.
And what I would do, if I was you, I would pull the most interesting parts of each culture, from Pakistan, from Thailand, and then US, and then try to meld them together. But meld them together, but still that is distinctly from these three different cultures. Yeah. I mean, you have so much to pick from, because like I said, Pakistan is just like so much. Mm-hmm. The fabrics, Thailand, same thing. Oh my God. Even like there's a sewing method from Thailand, I want to say. Yeah, it's like it's a lot of different things. Yeah.
Artisans, they're amazing.
Amazing. Like my last intern was Pakistan. Okay. And she Pakistani, and she does a line, and maybe once we get off, I'll send you her to see what she's doing and what she's doing.
Oh yes.
I mean, oh my God. I mean, and she's definitely. I mean, she's only dealing with her culture, but she's still selling it in the U.S.
Yeah.
And so that would be a great brand to kind of keep your eye on, just to see how she's marketing and whatever. But to go back to what I feel like you should do is really pulling the most important or interesting things from each culture, and then melding together.
Yeah, I believe that's a very unique taste that we can add into the market. The people who actually value and sustainable, of course, because I was actually there are, I think, the fashion show coming up in this upcoming week, I mean maybe next week, in New York City. Mm-hmm. And that's actually an African fashion show where the local artisans from Africa got the opportunity to go there. And I was looking their YouTube videos and their website, and that was so beautiful, the color patterns they make, and all the things, how they thread. And you were talking about the threads, the hand sewing. I believe people over there not have much advanced equipment as we does here, and people over there, it's like a cultural thing, because their grandparents or great grandparents are doing like that. Right. So they continue in the family. It's not like US. Oh, you're a IT person, and I'm going to becoming a mechanic. I mean, so there's a lot of opportunities here. Of course, that's why I would say land of opportunities. But countries over there have a different mindset, a different tradition. They like to keep it and they feel honored that, oh, my family does this and we are in this industry for a long time, and I'm actually teaching to my sons to be like that, or my daughter to be learning like that. So I think that's why they get more advantage that side, because they're been doing that, so they don't have to come up with something new. I mean, they can innovate what they're doing, but that's a very unique thing. Like countries like Pakistan, Thailand, Africa, or other countries who do the production.
Right.
Yeah. Right. So thank you so much for advice and sharing for that. I believe it's not just for Zayshin, but every brand, a sustainable that's starting out, and we spoke before about what should we do in 2025.
Right.
So it's a great guide. So one more question: how do you raise awareness about ethical production without sounding like a preachy or out of touch?
Ooh, good question. Like I said, I think the first thing is always just giving out facts. Because I'm going to go right back to where I started. It's like, I just don't think we don't have the information. It's not out there on a regular basis. Like, we don't see it in commercials. We don't see it between ads in the Super Bowl. Like, we don't have that access to like the real information. Sure, what people post, but like if people saw, like I said, what it takes to make a pair of jeans, if they actually saw that video, they would be mortified. I was. So I feel like, it has to be more about just putting the information out there and let people absorb it however they want to. So I just think that it doesn't even have to be like, it's not preachy if it's not coming from us. If it's a visual and it's just facts and video, I don't feel like we have to I think these visuals speak for themselves. We don't even have to preach about it.
Yeah.
If we just put the information out there and let people learn, that's all we need to do.
Of course. No, I was just saying that I was feeling horrifying when I saw a pair of jeans. How does it make and how they make it light? The water they use, and then it just go to the lakes. And the people, like locals, because that's a third world country, local people,
and that's the only job they can have. So like they can't even help but walk around blue.
They have no opportunities at all. We should put some consumptions over the factories that if we using water, at least recycle that, or at least find a new methods. I believe I was actually reading there are a lot of more methods to make a pair of jeans with less weight, and there's a lot of brand out there who are doing that actually. Nice. We should use that, implement those practices for the production to reduce it.
Good.
Of course. No, thank you so much for all that. And there's only 2 sections left. I believe it's about an hour now. Mm-hmm. And it might take about 10-15 minutes more. If you're okay, we can continue with that.
Yeah, let's finish it up.
Okay, I'm feeling hot now. It's like 67 degrees. I'm wearing a hoodie. So I'm actually from Thailand. Thailand normally has like over 100 Fahrenheit every day. 100 and 120. So I'm used to that for a decade. And now I'm here, sometimes 50 degrees or 55 is cold for me.
I'm sure.
Yeah. So it's like half of that. Even sometimes 60 if it's windy. I was like, okay, I feel good because it's like a nice outside, but I feel a little cold. It should be a little warmer. So I think it's a perfect weather for me right now. So yeah, what are the next questions we have? Anything, Bridgett, you want to add or you want to ask, please? Yeah. Or you share your stories you want to share, because you're absolutely amazing answering the questions that I have. But if in the meantime you think that we should be mentioning anything, please go ahead.
I feel like we are like really on target. Like we haven't skipped anything. Like the beginning, the store, the platform. So I think we're good.
Oh, okay, wonderful.
Yeah.
So now if we look at the bigger picture, because we were talking before like locally or teaching or starting out and all that. If we look with the bigger picture, where do you see the fashion industry, fast fashion first and then sustainable fashion, how we can overcome, or what do you think in the next 10 years it's gonna be? Like in 2035.
For fast fashion, next 10 years.
Yeah.
I mean, ultimately, I think the future fashion is sustainable, period. I mean, we're not going to have a choice sooner or later.
Yeah.
And I hate that we have to get to the point of not having a choice for everybody to, to support it. But at the rate that they're going and the way the climate is in the world right now, it's no way it's going to have the longevity for the next 10 years. I mean, it's just not, I don't think it's feasible.
It's the second most polluted industry in the world.
Right.
After
exactly.
So there's
Exactly.
no way people gonna stop. I mean, people or even I was looking for the governments, they're taking actions against it.
Right.
Because it's too much, Bridget, I think. It's too
I
much.
mean, can you imagine, like, when I was coming up, it was 4 seasons, like
Yeah.
any other, spring came out, well, summer came out, and then you got, what was it, Forever 21 or H&M that was like 54 seasons.
54 seasons every.
And there's only 52 weeks in a year.
Yeah.
So we're talking about pushing new. I mean, that blew my mind. Like, and that's, those statistics from way back. So Lord knows what it is now. It's probably doubled. So I just don't, we can't keep up with that. That's not a feasible system. It's not going to happen 10 years. For sustainability, I feel like we're going to have to rely on sustainable brands. I think some, of course, will dwindle out. But at the same time, it will be what we rely on as far as, sourcing for clothes. Like, we're going to just have to recycle what we already have.
Yeah.
So ultimately, everyone's going to be an upcycler.
Oh, yeah. Now, that's actually cool. 4 season. I remember we have a big bags, or there's a big square kind of a box, a metal box in Pakistan we had, and it's called peti in our language. So I remember when the season comes, my mother or even my whole family, because that was a really big one, we divided the sections. We go, okay, so now the summer is coming. We're just emptying our wardrobe of the winter clothes, going back on the top of the floor, putting the clothes in, save it for the next year, and bringing the summer clothes out and putting it back to the wardrobe so we can use this. Same thing, when the season changes, we take the clothes out, go back, put it back, and bring the new clothes in. I mean, the same clothes that we put, and now we're going to repurpose, reuse, instead of buying a new one. We're just using the same one, because it's not going to be any bad sitting there for like 6 months or 5 months.
Right. I mean, and that's just a perfect example. Yeah. Like, no one in history was like, oh, forget all my winter clothes, I'm going to buy a whole new batch of winter clothes. Like, you just put them away, you put them back out. And, and sure, maybe you buy one new sweater or maybe a new coat, but, primarily you just rewore what you wore the previous season. And like I said, we've just gotten so far. I mean, I just feel like we've become so spoiled and, luxurious, and social media kind of put this pressure on us to be these,
Exactly. I think it's more accessible. That also spoiled us, because we just wake up. Back in the few years, we go to the shop, also accessible nights online, like the website like Shein or Cheap. Order sitting at your on your couch, and ordering that comes in. So I think that's also one of the things that make it so accessible, and when it's accessible, you use it. Like the phones we have right now. I know it's bad, but still, it's so accessible. We just take out from the pocket. So,
that's why someone's like, what number is your phone? I was like, I have no idea. I just know it works and it takes pictures. Like, I have no idea what number it is.
Oh my God.
I don't care. Yeah. But that made me think of something that I wanted to say. The phones. Oh, it'll come back.
Okay, no worries. Yeah, in the meantime, you were coughing. Please have some water.
Okay, thank you.
Please.
Yeah, I told you I woke up a little under the weather.
No, please. Because we're just going through the final thoughts and wrap up. So you see the fashion industry. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so we're just going for the final wrap up now. Anything you want to add before you want to say?
I wish I could remember what I was going to say, because it was a good one.
What we were talking about, actually, I forgot that.
You were talking about...
I have a goldfish memory. Yeah.
We're talking about how accessible everything is.
Oh, yes, exactly. We were talking about phones, how the timing and the numbers of the phone.
Right.
Oh God.
Yeah.
That should be the viral moment that you just.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Who knows? Like I said,
It's
I
fine.
feel like it's like right there. So like if I keep talking, it'll just it'll come out.
It does. Maybe we still have 5 minutes. Maybe it comes.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay,
I'm giving
Bridgett.
it 5 minutes.
Oh yes, thank you so much, Bridgett. Before we close, what's one message you would like to leave? For aspiring designers, founders, and the conscious consumers today, who are just normal human being like us. Actually,
I feel like a great message to give everybody would be be easy on yourself. I do feel like this world, planet, universe can make things a little harder than they need to be. And so I feel like if you're doing something is 100% from your heart and authentic, then things will work out so that you thrive where you're supposed to be. I just feel like if nothing should be that hard, nothing should be that hard. Life is hard enough. So like you just need to do what you love and put your all into it. And I feel like you'll be supported if it's natural. And if it's from the heart, I just feel like, like I said, just from my journey alone, I think it's pretty obvious, to just discover upcycling, to be offered the book, to, create FIT, one of FIT's first sustainable classes. Like that's mind blowing for, that's my alma mater. So who even thought I would be creating classes for this place? Wow. To create the class and then the store and then, all because I, kept going where I was led. So I never felt like, oh, I can't do it. Maybe I couldn't, but I wouldn't know unless I did it.
Yeah.
And I definitely do not believe in failure because I just know a lot of people in the world that don't try at all. To me, that's the ultimate failure is when you don't try at all. Yeah. So, I mean, like everything is not going to always happen the way you want, but at least you tried. And I just know a lot of people that don't try. So just trying is enough for you to pat yourself on the back. I just think we should be a lot easier on ourselves.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
Yeah, because the universe has better plans. If at the moment you think I couldn't get that done, maybe there's something new coming up because I believe once you put in the work, there's no way that's not coming back because we did the action. We're definitely be getting the reaction. Maybe it takes a little time. Maybe it's going to be some other way around, not the one that we're looking for, but definitely there's no way that's not coming back.
Yeah, because I think too, we paint this picture or we see this picture, and if it doesn't happen this particular way, so, to go into this whole industry and not knowing what to anticipate, I think was a blessing because, I might have got pissed off to, become a teacher, because I didn't want to be a teacher. You know what I mean?
Especially, I think in the U.S., being a teacher is a very hard job.
Yeah, it is.
I don't know if you're familiar about other countries. So the teacher is on the top and the students are down, but here it's like a different story.
And so, you
need so much patience for that.
Oh yeah, lots of patience. Yeah. And next week, what month, what day is whatever. So June, I'll be teaching at Vogue College of Fashion.
Wow, where is that?
In Manhattan.
Can I join?
I don't know. Can you? Can you? I don't know. So this is definitely going to be a new experience for me because this is the first time that I'm teaching something that has nothing to do with sustainability.
Okay.
This is the business of fashion. So this will be, new for me. And so to be able to do a whole new something at this point of the game is, super exciting. And, Vogue is Vogue. So, of course, that's amazing.
New opportunities. That's the thing. You put in the work, you get what you needed.
Right. I would, like I said, this is stuff I couldn't write this stuff.
Exactly.
I couldn't write this stuff.
Last but not least, where can our listeners can follow your work, your brands, or how they can approach you in a way?
Okay, so we have on IG, we have 3 platforms. We have Sustainable Fashion Week US. Mm-hmm. We have Born Again Vintage, and we have Bridgett Artise.
Wow.
And Sustainable Fashion Week .us is the website.
Yes.
houseofbav.com is a website where they could get one-of-a-kind pieces made by me, and also like a little family of sustainable designers that I support that they could, also get pieces from them.
Wow.
Other than that, pretty much in Facebook, my name, LinkedIn, my name, Bridgett Artise. 2 T's, no E at the end.
No
Everyone
E.
wants to put an E at the end of my name.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's it.
Okay, now thank you so much, Bridgett, again, for your time, sharing your wisdom, energy, and the story behind that I also believe we did a lot of talking. Still, there's so much left behind that we didn't cover, or we might get an idea later on after we shut this off, and I was like, I should be saying that, or I forgot to say that, to mention that. But no worries. Hopefully, God willing, we'll be keep collaborating like this, being more value to the market, because that's the whole idea of the ZÁY SHEEN podcast, where we can educate the people and build awareness around sustainability, around this topic industry, because it needs it more, and that's the future. As you said, there would be no fast fashion in the future. So
well, thank you for doing what you do.
No, it is my pleasure.
Every person counts, and I just kudos to wanting to push the information out there and share, and we all need our props for doing what.
No, definitely. Thank you so much again. And thank you so much to our listeners too for joining our podcast today from Bridgett Artise. She's an amazing individual. You listen to the whole podcast. It was a wonderful experience. It is my honor to be here, to be the part of the sustainable fashion that she started years ago, and now I'm becoming the part. I was in 2000. What year? 2005. You told me, right?
2003.
2000. Oh, I don't even born at that. So who knows? I'll be here. From born in Pakistan, going to Thailand, live there, coming to US, and now I got the chance to talk to you, Bridgett.
That's amazing.
It's totally amazing. Wow, it's so cool. Yeah, I was in the process. Okay, thank you so much again.
Thank you,
everyone.
Have a good day.
You too. Have a great day. I'll see you guys on the next podcast with the new guest coming up. Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.